I think the capacity is to know the system, to know how you automatically respond to it, and that if you can change the way you function as a member of that system in time, the system will change. And so traditionally in the field of organizational consulting or business consulting, you would focus on the other person and having them change. This is very much about building the capacity in the consultant or the family member or the employee to be different in that system, and that in turn changes the system. I believe it in a way now that I didn't believe it when we started navigating systems. Somehow the experience of working with such really competent professionals, yourselves and then the people that attend, has shown me that while this is harder and takes a different kind of rigor, it is a way that families and individuals can change for the long term instead of kind of these superficial changes.
Well, you think of the capacity that you need to be an observer, to watch and to wonder. There's a certain capacity that you have when you're not entering into things in terms of pleasing people, gaining love and approval, and you're more separate and more, you're working on more independence. I don't think you really get there, but just to have that concept in mind.
So from a brain perspective, observing requires a decreasing of the reactivity that's flavoring your perspective at any point in time, that you begin to distinguish that. That discipline is something, you know, meditation traditions do. There's a lot of ways to get at that. But I think what it does in an emotional way, in a relationship way, is to be able to engage observation in and of itself changes your relationship in the system. And you can't get to that. You cannot get to changing oneself in the system unless you observe, unless you see the difference between another person and you, and to see that subtlety where you're not separate, you know, ways that you don't even realize. That part, I think, is what neurofeedback supports. And also, I think, Andrea, your way of kind of being interrupts that in kind of a relationship. How do you know increased capacity? And I was thinking about it, what is a system that allows for more flexibility in the members and less automatic patterned anxiety ditches? So what I would observe is that people have more ability to experience, to manage and maintain themselves when they're anxious in a different way than automatically either shutting down or automatically getting into it. That has an impact on the other and the group like that. So I think that
Well
is
said.
so it's in the moment of the actual interaction around the ability to interrupt one's own reactivity. And then I think the other is that developing the genuine curiosity about others that comes from more seeing how a system works, and that none of this is personal. I think also gives people more ability to say, let's say, see their colleagues, to appreciate where they are in the system, and to also see anxiety better without automatically reacting to it as much.
And taking it personally.
And taking it personally and reacting.
I think about capacity as somehow figuring out, what do I need to do to change the situation that I'm in that I don't like that much right now? And even writing it down to make sure that you're being clear. This is, you know, if you look at Dr. Bowen's chapter about differentiation of self, and he just sort of lays it out how long it took for the planning to be more separate, to think about how he was going to interrupt it. Now, he did it in some very clever ways that people paradoxically would not want to enter into talking paradoxically probably to their family because it would be too scary. that everybody in your family thinks you're crazy and writes you letters and says that to you. But for me, to show capacity, in the final analysis, this is what I'm gonna do. This is the resistance I think I'm gonna face. And this is my ability to stand alone and not have love and approval as part of it. And then see the changes that happen in the system when you don't react back along this line that you're talking about, Priscilla, of the reactivity and what a burden reactivity can be. And